Hello, this is Logan. This is 1584 Adventure. We're doing our very first podcast. We're going to do about this great little goose hunt we went on with some friends. I got my co-host Brian Holzmeyer with me right now,
Yeah, hello there.
and so we're going to get into this. And so, Dad, what did we go do?
So, for a couple years now, we've been going up to Northwest Texas and hunting with Stanfield Outfitters. We have some friends fly in, primarily some friends from Kentucky, and every year we generally have two or three, four more friends fly in, and we just kind of do an end of year closeout up there, shoot some pheasants, shoot some geese.
Hopefully, a crane or two, but it's kind of end of the season, so it's kind of hard to do that at times.
Yeah, the cranes are pretty smart by the end of the year. Shoot a few ducks, have a
Uh,
lot of fun.
so this year we went up on a Thursday.
Yep.
We came back on a Sunday. Uh, Thursday evening, just kind of hung out up there at the lodge.
Yeah, we hang out, have dinner, kind of get everything unpacked and organized. And uh,
So
that
then Friday morning, we woke up, and what kind of morning was it when we woke up first?
in the beginning it was just moist.
Moist.
It there was kind of low clouds, some drizzly rain, didn't look too bad.
One of those storms that you're like, oh, 15 minutes and it'll be over.
And they actually had called for like a 10% to 10 to 20% chance of rain in that area up until 8 a.m. and then it was going to clear out.
So we're all gung ho. Our guide, Andy, who we've hunted with since, well, Andy was what, 16?
No, he wasn't driving yet the first time we went up there.
So we go out to the field, get out into the field, get all the decoys spread out, get the A-frame set up, and we get parked back to the trucks, and boom,
Lightning all around, up and
lightning
down.
all around. We're all parked pretty good, although I was in the worst spot. We would find out later. But
Yeah.
and we just kept looking at it, and about 9 o'clock, we all kind of came to the consensus this is ain't really going away.
Well, there was kind of a break in the heavy stuff and the lightning.
Yeah. So we got out into the A-frames, and ain't no one gonna say we weren't hardcore that day.
No, no, it was where we originally set the A-frame. Actually, we didn't realize there was kind of a drainage there, and it rained so hard on the other side of the road that it came down through that drainage, and actually water had been running through the A-frame for an hour or so.
Good news was my new neoprene gun sock was more or less waterproof. Bad news was nothing's waterproof after a few hours.
Yeah, eventually everything in that kind of rain. There was a hot field too. It was a peanut field that had been harvested, and the birds wanted in there.
But I think the rain just interfered so heavily in that, and I think we were a little visible.
I think we were a little visible, and a wind after during the storm was kind of forcing the birds to swing over a tree line that we were backed up against. The wind had shifted a little bit, so the birds were, and they were leery of that.
Okay.
Maybe leery of the A-frame. Late season birds are pretty smart.
Yep. So we got one goose or two that morning.
We got a couple geese that morning. A couple specks.
I think Sarah got one of them, and Sean got the other one.
Yeah.
So we had our friends from Kentucky, his family, Sean Keaton, Sarah Keaton, and his son Clay. And then we had
Sean Peters from New Hampshire flew in as a last-minute substitution in the group, and he'll be part of the travel team going forward.
Sean was a good guy, had an awesome time, and everyone was fun, everyone was interesting. And so we sat out there for almost till 10, 11 o'clock.
Yeah, we stayed a couple hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, and then another wave of rain. Rain you could deal with as a waterfowler, but lightning, when I was young, I might have stuck it out, but the odds are probably not.
So then we got the storm basically passed.
Yep, the first wave did.
Yeah, and
we went back to camp, had lunch.
We didn't go straight back to camp because we had to tear down all the goose decoys and
Yeah.
everything. And at that point, you couldn't drive. You couldn't get back there unless you had, I don't know, an excavator maybe
Yeah.
to the field. So
Well,
Andy had to go out on the road. Luckily, we were next to the road and not in the middle of the field.
yeah, we're about 100 yards off the road and against a tree line
They had a fence on it, and Andy was able to park the
on the
truck and
road.
trailer near the road, and we chunked everything over the
Humped it through the
fence.
woods and chunked it over the fence.
I'm going to tell you, a soaking wet A-frame, no matter how good it's built, is heavy.
Yes, they are.
Not to mention what we had 400 or 500 silhouettes out.
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah, because 50 each bag. I think we had 8 bags.
Yeah.
And I will say the silhouettes were really nice.
Yeah. 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 They're way better than, say, socks, where the socks fill up with water during a rainstorm.
Unfortunately, once again, because this same thing happened last year on our other goose hunt with them. Last day on that hunt, the weatherman said it wasn't going to be this, and we got out there and it was the coldest day ever.
Yeah.
And this was the wettest day ever, but all of us left our rubber boots back except Sean Peters, who didn't bring rubber boots. He only brought waders. He's the only one. So I'm out there in deck boots and almost losing them every other step.
Yeah, we were supposed to get 0.2 of an inch and got a little over 3 inches in 2 hours.
So then we walked back to my truck, but then it started raining heavy again, so we kind of had to wait.
Kind of had to hunker down again.
And unfortunately, when I parked the truck, I parked it just a little bit inside the field to make sure everyone could get out. Luckily, I have a 4-wheel drive, and I didn't try to turn around. I just put it in reverse.
Yeah.
And I barely got out. I barely didn't get stuck.
Yeah. But it was okay. We've survived it. Went back, dried out, took a shower, had lunch.
You know what? Although we didn't shoot a lot of geese that morning, Andy and the guys were right there in the blind with us the whole time.
Yeah.
They weren't chickening out and calling it a day. They waited till we wanted to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. They left it up to us. And then after lunch, we were supposed to go on a pheasant hunt.
But then the second round of rain kind of kicked in.
And they came up to me that afternoon, and it's release bird. It is. They're like, everybody's taking a nap or taking another shower and drying out. And the pheasant guy come up to me and goes, "Hey, it's supposed to start raining again pretty heavy here in a little bit, but we'll do it if you want. Or we can do them all tomorrow in one big, great bang out shootout." And I'm like, yeah, we're had enough rain.
Yep. So I gotta admit, although there was stuff to do. I mean, they got billiards, they got big flat screen TV, they got cornhole, which sounds dirty but ain't.
And yeah, we just stayed dry, had dinner, and watched NFR reruns. And I explained rodeo to the guy from New Hampshire.
Fought the wood burning stove all night long.
Yeah.
I mean,
but, all in all, wasn't bad. I mean,
the first, you know what, you're going to get hit in the nuts on a hunt every once in a while.
Yep.
It's better to do that when you got great company. I'll say that we had some of the best company we've ever had on a trip.
Yeah, these people are solid every time.
So what did we do the next morning? I can't really remember.
Next morning, we went and hunted that field on top of the hill.
Okay.
By the windmills.
Yeah. Was that
on the west side of the windmill?
Was that the next morning? Or was that the final morning?
Well, the final morning we hunted east of the windmills.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're about a mile from a line of windmills
because we hunted on the backboards Saturday morning.
Yep.
And then Sunday we kind of dug in a little bit.
Yeah.
So go ahead, lead us in on Saturday.
So set up on top of a hill where the ground is drier. Had shed the water overnight, and that area is a few miles from the lodge, and hadn't received the rain. They got an inch or so, but like I said, it's on top of a hill and sand, so it wasn't bad.
We did not drive in. They pulled up with a Ranger, and we tripped it in one trip.
Rangers in, put out a bigger spread, added a couple hundred socks of snow geese.
Yes.
Got down on backboards and white jackets in the snow goose spread, and I was bang up shoot that day.
Yeah,
it took a while.
That day was a good day, and it was a good long hunt. I liked that hunt. I really did. I will say the backboard is the best investment in thing I've seen in a while.
It's
If
all that and a bag of chips in the right environment, I think.
had we had that early teal season, it would have been amazing.
Well, and that's kind of the way we hunted teal and even big ducks when the lakes are low
Mm-hmm.
and all you had was a sand bank. It's kind of the way we did it years ago. You didn't have made backboard. You had to kind of improvise.
Yeah.
And you get down and, hopefully you find an area close to where the birds wanted to be and that had some cover. And when the lake goes down, maybe it was just a fallen log.
So we had how many duck? We limited out that
we shot
day.
a group limit that morning,
and I was having problems though. Earlier in the season, I had bought a pointer 20 gauge semi-auto, and I had not had a single problem except for with some old 3-inch shotgun shells that we think are bad. But for some reason, I was having a bad problem with it cycling while goose hunting.
Yeah, I'm going to say the ammo we were shooting is probably a little too hot for that shotgun.
I think it is too. I'm going to take it apart and completely, because Sunday I knew going into the field there was a problem hunting with that ammo.
Yeah.
So I took my mossy turd with me.
Yeah.
And when it finally kept, malfunctioning, I'm like, what, screw it, just bring out the mossy turd. Mossy turd won't fail me no matter what.
No.
But so after Saturday we went and had that pheasant hunt.
And it's a kick and shoot, release birds. It was
we got a little lost on the way.
Got turned around. I've been to that field once, but I'd also been to 6 other fields on that side of town.
Well,
got a little turned around, had to call Jeff, and he panicked a little bit, I think, but we got it squared away.
The main problem was Dad was saying it's the first left before town, and
no, I was saying the first left in town.
Left in town, and Jeff was saying the first left before town.
Yeah,
and we were all eating at that point, so we were kind of focused on eating.
It's okay. It worked out.
We had 70, 80 birds released in the field.
Between 60 and 80 birds.
Okay.
This being the closeout group of the year, whatever pheasants they have left in their flight pens, we end up getting them all.
Yeah. And unfortunately, due to the
so their pheasant pasture is 100, maybe 150 acres at most.
Yeah.
And
due to us kind of getting lost, and the pheasants had time to group up and get a ringleader and get a plan going.
Yeah.
Because we showed up, and it was, once we loaded up the guns, turned around, oh crap, there's a flock of pheasants right there. Get them.
Yeah. But we all shot pheasants. I happened to be carrying a 410 that day.
Where'd you get that 410?
My sons and my wife gave me a 410 over and under for Christmas, and Boss ammo. Jeff gave me a couple boxes of Boss to try it with, and number 7 Boss on a 410 on the kick and shoot birds.
Mm-hmm.
That's the answer. It's pleasant to carry. It's pleasant to shoot. I put down 4 or 5 in a row with it.
Well, I will say I took my 20 gauge pointer, but I had my Mossberg in the truck, and I was shooting lead, and I had no issues with that pointer till some 3-inch. I don't think it cycles a 3-inch real well.
Yeah, that may be.
And it was so much better shooting a 20 gauge than it was a 12 gauge.
Oh yeah.
Because I shot the 12 gauge last year, and there's several times I blew everything off that pheasant.
Well, on these kick and shoot hunts, the birds are going to hold tight. They might run for a while, but then they're going to hold tight and they're going to get up close. And they're pen raised birds. They don't require a lot of killing.
Yeah.
I mean, if we were going to Kansas and hunting wild birds, or going to Nodak and hunting wild birds, I would not carry a 410. I might carry 20.
Yeah. I will say, Sean was ready to take your 20 home with him.
Yeah.
He loved that.
Yeah, Sean Peters was all over that, because he had brought a 12 gauge 3.5 inch for the geese and didn't bring a sub gun. And I'm like, man, just carry my shotgun.
We got spares, just take it.
Yeah, I mean,
and he was singing high praises over that.
Yeah.
at the end. But had a pretty good time. We got 40, 50,
Yeah.
something like that.
There might have been 15 birds snuck away.
Yeah, and I think that I actually saw a flock when we were driving in.
Yeah.
Of about 8 or so running down the road, but not a big deal. This year they had a very young dog, first year for this dog.
Yeah.
Dog needs a little bit more training, but
I just need some experience. I mean, it wasn't a bad dog, but it's also a long running dog.
it was.
So,
And there was a lot of activity out there.
Yep. On these kick and shoots, I mean, I don't want to talk bad about anybody's dog, but a long running dog is not what I think you need to be bringing. But it's okay. I mean,
we got to hunt with.
I don't like them on wild birds either, so I like them to hunt close.
We got to hunt with the legendary Happy of Stanfield Lodge.
Yeah.
And I'll say he was happy the entire time.
Yep.
He got he earned that nickname.
Yeah.
Then
that's good. Everybody there at that lodge is top notch people, no matter what.
Yes.
We've been going there since
I was in 4th grade, so
yeah. I mean you were 8.
2005.
Yeah.
And it's almost 20 years at this point.
Yeah. And we don't always go every year. We'll go 3 or 4 years in a row, and then we'll go do something else, and then we come back. We're going back for doves this year. The doves seem to have recovered here in Texas, at least in that area. They have some phenomenal dove shoots. And so Keatons are coming back down from Kentucky. I don't know if Peters is going to come in for that, but it's a good time.
And I love going up there. It's great country up there. It's beautiful. We actually saw a speed goat on the way up there. A wild speed goat randomly running around.
Yeah, I didn't know it. And we're cutting up there, getting close. We're within 20 miles of the lodge, and this female
antelope
pronghorn
pronghorn
had shot across the road, ducked under the fence, and took off. Stopped about 60 yards out in this field. So I know that's what it was. Talking to Jeff, he said there used to be about 200 of them over there in that area when he moved up into that area 30 years ago. And over time, poachers and car wrecks and stuff, there's some left, but they're not increasing in number.
Yeah. Which kind of sucks, but it was really cool seeing one.
Yeah. I've never seen one in Texas. That's the first one I've ever seen inside of Texas.
I saw some on our trip up to Wyoming a few years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Driving up there in the Panhandle, but that was deep Panhandle, almost New Mexico.
Yeah.
In fact, if Taylor hadn't told me we're still in Texas, I would have thought we were in New Mexico at that point. But, Sunday, we went and had another great day. I mean, it's late season. Birds are smart, so It's going to be a long hunt. That day, we didn't take the backboards. We dug in a little bit, but we dug in a style like a backboard.
A backboard, yeah.
Used to, when we first started coming out there, you had to dig a 6-foot by 3-foot hole, a grave for yourself, and lay down in it.
And then pull this gigantic quadruple super magnum goose decoy over you.
And back then, I was, 4th grade. I wasn't strong enough to throw that plastic shell all the way back, so I'd have to throw it up, shoot one, duck down, or get hit in the head. I got hit in the head a lot.
Those were good times, though. Shot lots of lessers. Lots of lessers.
We met my twin that day.
Yeah, Yoder. Yeah, all the things. So I asked him, how'd you get your name Yoder? He said, well, I don't do anything. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, I don't drink, don't smoke, don't chase women. And so they call me Yoder. Well, Logan, I think that might be your soulmate.
His name was also Logan, so it was a little creepy at the end. But he was a good dude.
Everybody up there is. They always have been.
So the highlight was our surprise goose caller.
Yes.
Dad, I'll let you take this one.
So one of the dogs they bring gets excited. And he's good, and he starts mimicking the guide that's doing the calling. And the dog's pretty good call. I got to admit. I mean, I was surprised because they started out a little sketchy, and then once they really got into the rhythm and are really hammering the geese, the dog is hammering along with them. It's hilarious, and it works.
Yeah.
I think it really. There is no negatives to it. I think it was a big plus.
Well, I gotta admit, the first 5 minutes I heard it, I'm like, where's that call coming from? Because that's not Andy, but it's in tune with Andy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, man, that other dude, he's a good caller too. Like, oh, wait a no. No, that ain't who. That is Lou.
That is Lou Dog.
And Lou's great. He got a great history. He's 11 years old. He also happens to be Ron's last litter.
Last dog Ron trained.
Yeah. Last dog he trained, last litter, given to Andy by Ron.
Yeah.
And he's a big old healthy
boy.
And hopefully we get to
hunting son of a gun.
We get to hunt over him one more time.
Oh yeah, I think we will.
I think so too. But we almost got a limit that day too.
I think we were one short
or something. And that was the day Sean got his one for mounting.
Yeah, Sean
Peters.
Sean Peters, being from New Hampshire, had never seen a speckle belly in his life. He'd only seen one snow goose in his life. And he's my age, maybe a year or two younger, mid-50s. So this was a big deal for him. He'd also never seen that many geese. I mean, even though they don't all decoy, there are hundreds of waves and waves of geese coming over. Waves of geese roosting in roost ponds and stuff. And he'd never seen anything like that.
And he got him a real good looking one.
Yeah.
And
did he take one or two?
He got one.
Okay.
He got one speck.
Okay. He had a really good speck. I thought he took a snow goose too.
I'm not sure. We'd have to check with him.
Yeah.
But that was a great highlight for Sean Peters.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Keaton almost had to go to hospital because he almost broke his leg. He stepped in a gopher hole or something.
Stepped in a badger hole while we were on the pheasant hunt. And he's already got a bad knee on that side.
And I looked over and Sean, he's, hip deep in the mud almost. I'm like, oh crap, a gravoid got him or something.
Yeah, I hope there isn't a rattle bug in the bottom of that hole.
But he got out of it and he looked a little stiff at the end of the hunt, but he didn't stop.
No.
Because I was about halfway through the pheasant hunt.
Yep.
But great guys. Had awesome time up there.
Have a good time with them every time they're coming down. The Keatons are coming down and we're going to Port Mansfield in June and we're going to tear the redfish up.
We're going to have an awesome time out there.
We're going to do some wade fishing, probably maybe even run around and do some surf fishing.
I finally get to ride in my brother's big boat.
Yeah, older son's going to come over, bring his boat, and a buddy of his, I think, is bringing his boat. So we'll be doing some wade fishing for specks and reds. If the water's right, we may slide out through the jetties and see if we can hook a tarpon.
Oh heck, that'd be fun.
Yeah, and if even if we got to make the big circle all the way around and go all the way down through Pins, if we got a couple trucks, we run down to Pins to the Mansfield jetties.
Yeah,
and see if we can throw them on them.
So at the end of let's get back on our hunt.
Oh yeah.
At the end, got our geese
loaded up.
Got everything loaded up. Luckily, the heater in all of our rooms worked well and got everything dry. We got loaded up. We're driving out, and Sean Keaton, the Keaton family, and Sean Peters are all in one Suburban.
Headed to Abilene or to Abilene for the airport.
And they
make a shortcut.
And I will say, this is Google's fault because it was Google Maps that told them to take a shortcut on a red dirt road 2 days after a 4-inch rainstorm.
Yeah, 2 days after apocalyptic rain.
So I slowed down a little bit and instead of going 70, let's go 55 before we get all the way. We make it to town. Dad gets a call. I already start turning around. He's like, they're stuck. I'm like, yep.
Well,
and we pulled up, went back to the road, and there's a mud pit, 100 feet.
Oh, 100 yards.
100 yards. And they're stuck
on the other side of it.
Yeah. And Sean's out of the car, and we're hunters. We got mud boots and waders and all that, but they're all packaged up in the bags.
Yeah.
And we walk up there, and we're smart enough. We're not driving all the way up there. We're going to get out and walk it. I got my rubber boots on. Dad's got his. Sean's Keaton's out of the car. And it's a big suburban 2-wheel drive street wheel car, 4 people, 600 pounds worth of gear. So it's got nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And it's right where the water cross. It ain't just a low spot. It's where the water sheds out of one field into another. And
we tried to do the traction boards. Traction boards generally don't work, but it's always a good thing to try at first.
yeah, it's a good looking idea.
Did some more looking. Dad called up Stanfield Outfitters, and I will say within 5 minutes, Tony Stanfield was in the truck heading to us.
Yeah, and we put all of Logan's tow recovery gear together. We had about 10 inches of slack to get hooked up to Logan's truck.
And I got, like I said, I got in 4-wheel drive, but I pulled in. We hooked it up to my front bumper and backed it out. And there was a few times where Clay driving obviously thought he was out and it was time to slow down. No, we're just kept yanking him. But unfortunately, throwing mud all over my mirrors, I couldn't see where I was going, so I had to stop. I get out and Clay's halfway in the embankment. I keep going.
Yeah.
I clean off the mirrors. At that time, Tony showed up.
Yeah, Tony showed up at that time, and he had another 50 feet of chain.
He had a brand new 9-inch weave toe strap just for this. He's like, man, I wanted to try this out today. Like, well, not today, man.
No, I appreciate it, man.
But that was real nice of Stanfield Be Ready. And they were on the ready for that because this happens 4 or 5 times a year.
It ain't the first time, and it won't be the last.
So we got them pulled out of the
embankment. It'll be the last for us, but not someone else.
Out of the embankment. And like, Clay, when the adventure is over, don't start the next one. But no, that Keatons are good. They're good people. We got everything out of there. Didn't break anything, luckily. I told Sean, like, man, you better thank China because the bumper's China, the toe straps are China, the shackles are China, and that receiver hitch is China. But
no, all in all, it could have been way, way worse.
Yes.
The funny part is the field just to the east of where they were is where they had a group crane hunting that morning when the lightning started.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 days later, the A-frame's still in the field. The decoys are still in the field.
Yes.
It was the 3rd day after the rainstorm before they could get in there and get that stuff back.
Yeah. And all in all, that went a lot better than I thought it was going to whenever we pulled up there.
I got to admit, I always have worst case scenarios in my head. I hate getting stuck, having had to dig a couple of them out all by myself.
And I will say the shovel we had is a fire shovel. It's not for digging out. It's for moving some logs around on a fire.
Yeah.
And it did the handle broke on it. But Sean, he gave me some money to take care of getting a new one. So.
No, it was all good. I mean, it could have been way worse. It wasn't. It rarely is way worse, but I always worry that it is.
But and now we already planning the next trip with them.
Yeah. Like I said,
we're planning some other big trips with them, seeing how things go. Maybe some trips to Canada with them.
I'm still kind of on the fence on Canada.
Yeah, we're going to see how it goes in the next few years.
Yeah.
But love having those guys
down. May slide up there this year for early season whitetail, because you can shoot whitetails in velvet.
That's always been on your list, hasn't it?
That's been on my list, and we'll see how my shoulder recovers and archery practice goes. Still struggling coming back from that.
So that's kind of it for the goose hunt. I mean, overall, the goose hunt was better, I think, this year than it was last year. The 2 days.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's hard to quantify a lot of hunts. Yeah, it was great. It was great. Well, maybe last year was better. Maybe 3 years ago was better.
Well, the reason I think it was better this year,
is
because very similar hunts overall. Because we had 2 good days last year, and then we had the final day where it was extremely cold. Everyone froze their ass off.
Yeah.
And then this year we had the first day where it rained for 3 hours.
Yeah, it
And
really.
I'll say I prefer being wet over cold.
Oh yeah, all that.
But even in the rain, there was potential to shoot lots of birds.
Yeah, I mean, birds wanted in that field to just set up the wind shift and the storm. It just
There was
wasn't.
too many factors against us.
Yeah,
Whereas last year on the crane hunt, the cranes are super smart
they're super. On a good day, they're super smart and super wary.
and they knew what was up that day.
Yeah,
And even though there was lots of cranes flying that day, they were not as interested as in the geese. That's
Yeah.
why I quantify this year as being a better hunt overall.
well, yeah, and we kind of knew that going in. The birds this year with the drought and weather being what it was, the cranes were goofy all over. Some of them, there was a lot of birds still in deep South Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Some birds had already moved off west and north.
Oh, I'm still hearing cranes flying today.
Yeah, they're coming up from South Texas today. I heard them for a couple of hours.
There was a flock of Canada geese flew right at Gramps' house 2 days ago.
Really?
I mean,
those are local birds.
They were right over the top of the house. I mean, I could have hit them with a rock.
Yeah.
To the point where if it had been Goosey's, I would have been, Gramps, give me a shotgun. But that's our goose hunt with them. We're going to have hopefully do a lot more adventures with them. We got two or three planned already this year.
Yeah.
We're
going to get up in the morning and go try some white bass.
And we're going to try and film it this time, not get too sucked into fishing. We're bad about that.
Yeah. But it should be the peak of the white bass, or the heavy start of the white bass coming off this full moon.
And
having water this year.
We've had lots of water. I will say everyone else has been complaining about this duck season, and it has been crap for a lot of people. This has been the best duck season for me in 10 years where we live, because it's the first time our lake has been full in 10 years, and we've had lots of ducks.
Yeah.
But we're going to do a separate
of ducks on certain days, which they're still just migrators.
Yeah. We're going to do a separate podcast on how our duck season went and our adventure season as well.
Yeah.
We also have another adventure coming up next weekend.
We're
going to go up to Dinosaur Valley State Park, and we're going to do some primitive camping as a precursor to a canoe trip we're planning late March.
Late March, mid-April, something like that.
And
then we probably have a snapper trip coming up.
Early June, late June.
I don't know. It's still kind of in the works.
Yeah. You got to wait. Snapper season is not set in stone all the time.
No. And maybe another tuna trip.
We're going to do a separate podcast on the tuna trip too. We've had some trouble getting set up on the podcast, but now that we've got this working, we're going to be doing at least one a month. We're going to do one adventure a month and do a podcast on it. We're going to try and work in some other.
Yeah, and there'll be some shorts.
We did really well with our tailgate updates this year on YouTube.
We did, and we're going to get better about that. And because both of us travel around, we have some spur of the moment adventures, and I'm trying to remember to keep the camera, at least a hat cam, in the truck and ready to roll. And
well, heck, I was doing the math. We had almost 20 total short videos this year for duck season on YouTube.
Heck yeah.
And combined, I think we had like 10,000 views on all of that.
Yeah.
And we also had another 24 videos just in general from the start of the YouTube channel. We started this YouTube channel in August.
Yeah.
And some videos haven't done as well, but some videos have done really well. But
so look us up, 1584 Adventures, and
1584 Adventure. No S on the end.
No S. That's right.
But we're on YouTube at 1584 Adventure. We're on Instagram, 1584 Adventure. We also have a Patreon, and if you could go onto Patreon and subscribe, I believe I have it set at $5 for the tier. You get much more in-depth videos. Like for our pheasant hunt, you get the full 2 hours video on it. That includes every snippet. There are no little YouTube, you can't say this stuff in it.
Unedited, raw,
unfiltered amazingness. And it's also 1584 Adventure. We're going to get a little better about posting, but I think we're doing pretty good.
So far.
So,
all right.
Well, let's see y'all next time. And
remember, shoot raccoons.
That's a tip of the day.